Alright guys, the most common complaint you're going to get on a toilet as a handyman is going to be that it's constantly running. It keeps refilling and refilling and refilling. There's only ever one cause for that, and that cause is that water is leaving the tank and making its way to the bowl when we don't want it to be. And there are only two ways for that to happen. One is for the fill valve itself, which is what automatically fills the tank. The fill valve itself is not shutting off, so it's continuously filling and then going through the overflow drain, or it's going to be the flapper. Now the flapper is super simple. I'm not going to make a video on how to replace a flapper. I feel like that is just too easy to do. But I will make a video on how to replace the fill valve, which is right above here. So what we're going to do today is, for you to get the best visual of this job possible, I'm actually going to cut away the side of the tank so that you can see inside and you can see the fill valve as we're changing it. But before I cut this away and show you how to change the fill valve, I want to show you the kit that I have for toilets. This is my toilet repair kit, and the idea of this kit as a professional handyman is when I get to a job for a toilet, I don't want to be sorting through my van, sorting through my truck, searching for things, going in and out of the house back and forth. I want to save as much time as possible because time is money, so I have kits for a lot of jobs, and the idea is that I can grab this one kit, which closes up real nice together just like that. I can take just this one kit into the house, and this kit should get me through, let's say, 90% of all toilet jobs, regardless of what the problem with the toilet is. So let's go through what's in the kit real quick. Right here, this is a seal kit to go between the tank and the bowl. We won't need that on this job. We've also got a whole bunch of these. These are the caps that go on the base of the toilet to cover up the bolts that bolt it down to the floor. We've got some Liquilock. This is basically the material that's inside diapers. This Liquilock, you're going to dump it into the tank or the bowl whenever you're going to, especially when you're going to be getting rid of a toilet and carrying it through a house. And this is going to absorb all the water so you don't have water sloshing around. Don't put this into a toilet that you want to continue using. Like I said, this is basically for when you're getting rid of stuff. Got a little scrubby brush, of course. We've also got channel locks. You can do just about every job on a toilet that you need to do. Not every single one, but almost all of them, just with a pair of channel locks. We've got a 5-in-1 scraper. This is going to be to break the seal from the toilet to the floor and to scrape up old caulk and old wax ring. We've got a crescent wrench, of course, for the bolts. What else do we have? We have a chain here. This is the chain that's going to go from your flush handle down to your flapper. Got some latex gloves. If you're allergic to latex, get nitrile or vinyl or some other type of glove. I have two tank flush levers, one in white, one in, call it chrome, silver, whatever you want to call it. We've got a metal shiny one and a white one. These are universal kits, so these will work whether it's a side mount or a front mount flush lever setup. Also have a wax ring, and inside the wax ring kit is going to be the mounting bolts and washers and nuts themselves. You can use a foam ring if you want to. I don't have an opinion on what's better. They all work as far as I can tell. Also got some caulk so we can caulk the toilet to the floor. Do keep in mind, if you buy this DAP Quick Seal Plus, there's a white and there's a clear. The tube itself looks very much the same. The only difference is it's going to say clear instead of white, and it's going to come out white. Even the clear stuff comes out white, so do pay attention to whether it says white or whether it says clear up here so that you don't accidentally put clear caulk onto your toilet. Got some trash bags, of course. We've also got some rags, and then this is our fill valve and flapper kit that we're going to be putting on this toilet here. And then finally, just a little tiny hacksaw, and this is to cut off the bolts so that we can put the covers over the bolts. Now, most of the new systems, they're going to have bolts that you can just break off, but just in case you don't have those, and if you don't have like a multi-tool inside to cut it off with real quick, this will get you through those bolts real fast. Also, one more thing I forgot to show y'all real quick, almost forgot these. We've got a large common slotted screwdriver. This is for the bolts inside the tank that hold the tank down to the bowl. We've got a large number 3 Phillips screwdriver, and this is going to be mostly for toilet seats. And then we've got a regular number 2 Phillips screwdriver. Alright, let's get this toilet back over here. Go ahead and put on some hearing protection. Grab our diamond blade. Now, before I even cut into this, I do want to point out to y'all, a lot of this work with the fill valve and the supply line, a lot of this can be done just by hand without any tools. If you do need to use a tool, you can go ahead and use your channel locks. They're going to be the most useful for this. But the seals on these are usually done in such a way that maybe 8 or 9 times out of 10, I can fully uninstall and reinstall these without ever grabbing any pair of pliers or any tool. But if you do need a tool, just use your channel locks. So get your supply line off. Of course, shut the water off before you do that. And then let's take the lid off and we'll start cutting. Alright, now as with any plumbing related job, before you open up the system, you want to go shut the water off either at the shut-off valve or to the house, wherever you got to get that shut off at. But once you've got the water shut off and you've got your supply line removed, you're now at the stage where you're going to replace your actual fill valve here. One thing I do want to point out is you're always going to have this little overflow hose right here. It's going to be hooked up to your overflow drain, so make sure you pull that out. And then when it comes to removing this piece, as I was saying before, especially if you're a handyman and you just do this a lot, your hands get stronger. But even if you're not a full-time handyman, a lot of times these pieces and parts can actually come out without any tools. So if you push down on this valve right here, and I'm going to show you the seal it compresses in just a minute, but if you push down on this valve here, you can compress the seal, and then you can come to the bottom side, and yep, I can do it with this one. I can loosen this up with just my fingers. But if you have to, of course, you can always come over to your kit here and you can grab your channel lock pliers and you can come over here and you can grab onto that plastic nut with your channel lock pliers. But once you've got this held in place and you've got the water emptied out of the tank, you can just take that nut off and then you can just take this fill valve right out. And now what I want to show you is at the bottom of this fill valve is this rubber seal. This is what prevents water from leaking out when you install the fill valve. So you take your new fill valve, we'll just pretend like this is the new one. We don't need to get another actual new one and take it out of the package. It could be any fill valve. There are tons of different styles. I prefer the corky type that don't have any moving parts on the outside. But like I said, they're all fill valves. They all work. They all work a little bit differently. But when you're at this stage, really all you've got to do now is you just come back in with your new valve. You drop it through that hole there. Hold it in place. Get your nut started on the bottom here. Get that all the way up to the top. And once you've got it to the top, what I'm going to do is I'm going to push down and I'm going to wiggle in different directions. So as I push down and wiggle, that nut turns a little more and a little more until finally this is tight. And then I'm going to take my overflow tube and I'm going to attach it back originally to wherever it was, however it was attached. And then you can take your supply line and reconnect your supply line. Again, you know, if you do this a lot especially, I don't think you need any tools to tighten this down. I think you can basically just get it, you know, very hand tight, but still just hand tight nonetheless. Plug that back into the wall, turn your water back on, fill the tank. This one is going to adjust the water height via this little bar that you turn right here. That's going to change how high up this float sits. The other styles like the Corkies, they have some internal settings and you actually change the total height of the entire fill valve. But this is it, guys. Whatever style fill valve you choose, you just put your fill valve back in, turn the water on, fill that tank up, check for any leaks around here, check for leaks everywhere, adjust your water level, and you're going to be good to go. And that's how you replace a fill valve on a toilet. Really, really simple. Now let's talk about pricing as we do with all of these. For me, this is always $125 labor plus parts. I think I charge something like $23. I just have like a set price for the fill valve price. And also, by the way, typically I'm going to go ahead and replace, typically if I'm in here already, I'm going to replace the flapper. That's kind of your call if you want to or not. It helps if you do, and you know, the kits that I buy typically come with a flapper anyway, so replace the flapper or don't. But I'm going to charge $23, something like that, for materials, plus $125 for the labor to do this job. And this job I do so many times, guys, so many times. This has become literally a 10-minute job. And honestly, if it takes me 10 minutes, I was a little bit slow. For that 10 minutes, I'm going to charge $125 labor. The only variable you really have is just the drive time to the job. But no matter how you look at it, you're making hundreds of dollars an hour replacing fill valves. So if y'all have any questions, don't hesitate to put them in the comments or to email me personally at bulletproofhandymanbusiness@gmail.com. Also, if you'd like any of my further pricing documents, you can go to the description of this video and all of my videos, and down at the very bottom of the description is going to be a link for you to click to get my free business documents. Within those documents, there are 2 different documents you might like. One is called Jobs List with Pricing. Think of that one more as just a jobs list. Ignore the pricing for the most part, but you can play with it. It's a spreadsheet that has some formulas, so you can tinker with it and come up with your own pricing. The other one is going to be a CSV file of my custom line items, and what this is my line items that I've made within my Jobber account. So I've got about 100 jobs where I have standardized pricing and standardized description, standardized materials for about 100 jobs. And what I've done is I've put them in there so that when I'm writing invoices and estimates, I can just click on it and add a quantity and move on instead of having to type all of this out by hand every single time. I've downloaded my CSV file for you so that you can download it from me. And then if you have Jobber, you can go into your Jobber account, you can upload my CSV file